Got a lot to do in this last episode before the finale, so we better get right to it. That's what's happening on this episode of Featherstone Bicycles. So I was able to get the second coat on the chain guard, and there were no drips, no bubbles. So my only thought on the ultra terrible job that I did on the white parts was that either there was something wrong with that spray can or I was holding the can too close in certain areas. It did seem like I was rushing it. So anyway, what I did was I wet sanded, waited until it dried, obviously, a few days. Then I wet sanded all the drip marks and rough spots where it was bubbling as best I could. You can see I sort of was getting down to the primer in certain parts, but I didn't bother with anything that was on the inside of the fenders. Actually, that front one came out pretty good, but there was a couple bad places on the inside of the rear fender. The wheels came out fairly well. Also, the coverage was really bad. Compared to the chain guard, the coverage from that can was really bad. So it wasn't a situation where I didn't shake the can enough, because I certainly did at least as much, if not more, than I did the can of pink paint. So, in fact, you can see right here how bad that coverage was. Some of that is from the wet sanding, but not a lot of it. And the frame actually came out a little bit better than I thought. You can see that really bad drip mark there, but that's been sanded down. So I'm gonna have to be careful when I do the second coat, which I'm just letting this dry maybe for a day and then come back to it. But I will show you painting that second coat on there. I don't know how much I'm going to show, because part of it was these pieces are so close together and I'm moving the camera around and it's really hard. You know, I hate to not film everything, but part of it is the trust me, there's a lot of pressure when the camera's on. So anyway, that's that. So the other thing I've done then is tape off the head badge. That is, there's a little silver part. You can almost see some of it right there by my thumb. As best I could with some strips of masking tape. And I'm just gonna paint this whole thing pink and then come back with a sponge brush and do the white. I'm gonna have to forego or forsake, whatever the right word would be, the little R trademark. It's just gonna be too impossible. Maybe I can try to cut out a little round piece of masking tape, but I think that would be, yeah, I don't know. It's so small. And then I did very carefully with small pieces of masking tape trim off the seat, which needs to be painted white. Again, I'm going to come back with a brush to do the S, and got that masked off and should be good to go. So we're going to paint this white, we're going to paint that pink. to start painting the pinstripe on the rims. The second coat and a little bit of a third coat came out great. There must have been really something wrong with that first can. Might have been operator error, but I seem to be doing it the same way on the second can. So anyway, I have these stencils for the pinstriping on the rims. And the way this works is you peel off this backing, and then the other side of this, well, this is sticky. You put that on, and then you peel this side off, and it leaves, these are 3 separate pieces. So you see I've already done this here on half of it. It comes in 2 segments, and it's a little tricky to, it's not hard to get this on, but what's tricky is then peeling this back part off. So at any rate, I'll show you how this goes. It's a little hard doing this possibly by yourself. It would be good if someone else was here holding the top of the rim, but you really can't do it from the side because you got to see what you're doing. So I'm going to get this lined up as good as possible, as close as possible, I should say. Maybe overlap it a little bit. I peel it back a little bit at a time. And I think I'm just going to cut it off. Okay, believe it or not, that was the easy part. Yeah, I'm sorry, I know this is really hard to film, but the tricky bit now is pulling this other part off, and I've got a little tweezers here. I think I've got it started. The problem is that the masking wants to come with it. And well, I seem to be in luck. Yeah, that worked good. A lot better than the first one did. I got a little bit of a problem right there, but I'm not going to sweat that. Okay. I need to get some more larger masking tape to then run it along here over the sides, so obviously you don't get the side of the rim painted. Okay, so both of the wheels are now stenciled. So now I'm going to move on to the fenders. show you something here. When I was doing the stencil on the wheels and I was coming back to mask off the ends, I realized that I didn't get it quite pressed down all the way as I was unrolling that. So I'm having to go back because I need it to be, you know, tight right against there, or else the paint is going to seep in. So I'm going back and I'm cutting it to free it up, free up the tension, and then using my ichrometer, I'm getting it as close as I can to where it needs to be. Sorry, my hand is in the way, but you'll see what's going to happen here in a second. I get the other part, and you'll see that there's a little gap at the end. So what I'm doing is taking a little bit off that I have left from doing the fenders, and then putting the Band-Aid on. Oh. There we go. Good enough. Anyway, little surgery. Going to take the masking off of the seat. This has been drying for several days. And we'll see how we did. Well, not great, but a heck of a lot better than it looked before. I still have to get some white on a brush and fill in this S. I'm going to put some paint in the old cap here. See if I can fill this in. Do for the white letters on the head badge was I have this little foam brush and give this a shot. It'll be definitely faster and I'm hoping easier than, wow, it really went on there. Nope. That's not going to work. I'm going to have to resort to a thin brush. 10-foot job. Looks good from 10 feet away. Get any closer, you start to see little imperfections. But I will come back after this dries and I'll put some pink paint in there and come back and try to smooth out those rough parts. Down, a couple more to go. Came out pretty good. So next I'm going to do the darts on the fork, and they are 40 millimeters. I'm going to have to put a pencil mark on this. 40 millimeters from the top. Are they the bearing, the ball bearing surface? That's going to be right about there. Better do the other one too, because I forgot to cut them, so they're both going to come off quickly. There's that. All right. Seat post decal is 135 millimeters from the top of the seat post to the top of the decal, which is what I've got here. Alrighty. So far, so good. Now for the Schwinn wording here, it was 35 millimeters from the top of the head tube to the crossbar, which is right about here. I'm going to put some soapy water. Oh crap, what happened there? Everything was going so well. Chain guard, fork darts, the seat post, and then that happened. I was just trying to get that off and smooth it out, and the whole starburst, looks like that, came off of it. The more I tried to fix it, the worse it got. Then I decided to put the other one on, and I ended up screwing that up because it went cockeyed. So, fortunately, the person that I bought them off of eBay had a guarantee that if any of it got screwed up, he would replace one of each of the decals at no charge. So I called him yesterday as soon as it happened. He got back to me later in the day, and he said he would put them in the mail today. So if I get them before I have to film the final episode, I will put them on. If I don't get them in time before I film the final episode for next week, then you are gonna see the bike like that. So just know that eventually it will be all good, assuming I don't screw up the other ones. The other thing I thought about doing was that since the tape job didn't really work out very well here, but the brushing to finish off the S did work out pretty good, I thought, why not try to use a few brush strokes to see if I can smooth out that edge. See how the pinstriping came out on the fenders. Well, so far so good. Well, pinstriping came out really good, except there's one little bit there You can see some pink, which obviously I'll just touch that up. Don't forget, I am going to have to try and put the rivets in the struts. So I'm anticipating I'm going to have a little bit of damage that I'm going to have to touch up. And then there was a little bit of pink right there, and there. So I'll have to touch that up as well. But otherwise, very happy with that. Okay, so let's see how we did here. Crossbar decal, the pinstriping came out great. I mean, real nice crisp lines here. A little bit of leakage here. I don't know what happened there. Leakage in a couple other spots. Some kind of a mark there. Obviously, after I get the wheels laced, I will go back and touch that up. All right, let's get started on lacing these up.
did get the punch ground down at the tip so that the tip just fits inside the rivet. And then hopefully by pounding that, it will roll the edges of the rivet over, and then I'll be able, with a ball peen, the ball end of it, to flatten that out. So I was getting ready to start working on the front fender to put the rivets in, and wouldn't you know it, those new old stock struts that I found don't line up exactly with the holes in the fender. One of them kind of does, so I'm going to work off of that one so I don't have to drill 2 holes. And then I basically have this lined up here, and I'm going to try to drill a hole through the strut. We'll see. All right, well, I got one in, and wasn't pretty, but it worked. And it's underneath the fender, so nobody will see it. And now, the tricky bit is that because it's angled and the struts are coming up, it's hard to... I basically got the flat part of the anvil here, the flat part of the vise, I should say. And then I get this in there. I really need this bent. Well, unbelievably, it really didn't do much damage to the paint job. I got maybe a little bit of touch up there, but, you know, not bad. All right, well, that's going to do it for this one. I think that I'm going to do the other fender and true up the other wheel off camera, because I got a feeling this video is long enough as it is. Thanks for sticking with me, and hope to see you next time for season 10 finale of Featherstone Bicycles.